Well, great to be talking to you today. You've had a bit of time to decompress. How do you feel about everything overall?
I mean, it was the experience of a lifetime. I am a super fan of this show. And, I left my very important job and my husband a month after my wedding to come and play this game because I believe so strongly in my ability to not just be able to navigate the game, but to make it toward the end and hopefully walk away with the $750,000. Unfortunately, I'm sitting here talking to you right now. So, uh, obviously that didn't come into fruition, but it was I had the time of my life. Wouldn't trade that experience for the world.
This close to making the jury, but now you get to go home, and you mentioned your husband numerous times how much you miss him. Do you have a sense of melancholy now, or are you happy with how everything turned out?
Honestly, if I could go back and do some things differently, I obviously would. Hindsight is 2020, right? When you're in there, there is really no blueprint for navigating this game. I worked in politics for all of my career, and I always felt like that was the most intricate and difficult place to navigate, especially Capitol Hill with all of its nuances. But
Right.
that is nothing in comparison to the Big Brother house. It is a world of its own. And just getting acclimated to the house was an adjustment for me because it was dirty. Nobody liked to clean. Couple that with the fact that you have these games which look moderately difficult on television, but then when you're here they feel impossible to win. And I talk to people from all walks of life, in my everyday job, and here I was always like, what are these kids talking about? There was so much Super Mario conversations and which character this person would be from Game of Thrones and what this animated cartoon. I was just like, okay, I am losing brain cells. What is happening? Can we play the game? Everybody just stopped talking. It was insanity.
Now, before you left, you dropped a big bomb on everybody. What was your intention behind that? What do you hope happens?
I really do feel like Corey and America were a part of my demise, and that's why I alluded in my speech before the vote is that people wanted to work with someone they could trust, and I looked at America and someone who would not sabotage you and manipulate you into doing their dirty work is when I looked at Corey. I really felt like they were at the center and the core of the vote flip that had happened, and obviously, I don't know how it looks to you guys, but in the house, you can feel the energy, right?
Yeah.
People had a couple days ago been telling me, like, oh, definitively, you have my vote no matter what. I'm not changing. I know Mama Fee is telling people that I'll be voting for her. It's absolutely not the truth. You have my vote no matter what. And then people start kind of tiptoeing around you. You're in the bathroom, they see you in there, they turn around quickly because they don't want to be asked where they stand and where their vote will be going. But my point in dropping the bomb that I did before I left the house was to throw a little shade at Corey and America and to just cause some disarray, right? I'd had a conversation with America where she was saying, outside of her and Corey, who else I trusted? I was like, nobody. And she starts saying, oh, well, Bowie Jane is, someone who Corey is really close to. She looks at him like an advisor. She's really smart. You should really get to know her. And although she didn't necessarily pitch an alliance with us four, she just alluded to the fact that they had some sort of working relationship. And I saw them studying for the HOH together. And I know that Jag, Blue, and Matt are on one side, and I also know that Jag has a close relationship with Corey and America. So I figure, let me start telling a few lies and throwing a little shade into this mix, and I hope they all fight to the death.
Well, you may not know, or you may know now. So Felicia was definitely going home, and then there was a flip, and things started to change. And one of the biggest reasons why it did change is because everybody considered you a better challenge threat and a competitor than Felicia was. That must, how things turned out the way they did, but you must be proud of that as one of the big reasons why they had to get you out.
Yeah, absolutely. When Cameron told me that I would be nominated or that I would be sitting, on the block this week next to Mama Fee, and he's like, "You're the pawn, she's the target. There's no world in which you go home. Everyone loves you." I would just like, "Oh, please don't run around here telling people that everybody loves me. What are you saying right now? You were just evicted. What are you talking about?" how are
Right.
you going to guarantee safety for me? And you don't even have a vote this week. So I knew that once I was sitting on the block next to Mama Fee, and Kirsten had actually said it before she left. She's like, anybody who sits on the block next to Mama Fee, she will always be the pawn, no matter what. They are
Right.
always going home. And, you know, 3 times it has happened. She sent 3 players home now.
Yeah.
And I knew that at some point people will start to have conversations and say, well, we kind of expect Mama Fee to be a little more erratic. You know, we expect her to kind of go around and try to create all of these alliances and, you know, do all of this craziness. We don't really know what to expect from Mimi, but we do see her as a decent competitor and someone who is well liked in the house. And Mama Fee did just have a big blow up with, you know, Cameron mostly, where she was talking about, you know, no, how do people don't talk to you unless you're HOH, and then going at Corey in America. And so, I know that people probably think that she's not as good as a competitor and that she may not be as well liked. So I was not surprised by that.
Now you came close to winning many of the challenges again. That's why you were targeted. But overall, you played a pretty low-key game. What was your strategy? Let people in on that about what your thinking was when you were in the house.
Yeah. So, coming into the house, obviously in my day-to-day work, I've worked in politics and started my career on Capitol
Right.
Hill, where I'm trusted with some very important decisions and,
Right.
having managed some very important individuals. And I know that that can seem like a very popular thing, but it can also cause a lot of jealousy and be seen as very threatening to
Mm,
people, especially in environments that seem so fragile. Capitol Hill is so fragile, and the Big Brother
right.
house exactly the same, right? Everybody trying to find a way to one up each other to put themselves in the best possible position. And working in
Right.
politics taught me that exactly. So going in, I knew that I did not want to seem like a strategist or a mastermind. And while I always went into these comps wanting to win,
Yeah.
I knew that very early on when I didn't win, I was very sad about it. But I was also like, this is not that bad, right? Because hide someone 3 comps in a couple weeks and went out shortly thereafter. Riley won her first HOH by walking quickly on a balance beam and also left the house quickly thereafter. So, my strategy going into the house was to lay low for the first half of the game. And had I made it toward the second half of the game, really start to turn up the strategy in which, suggesting who should or should be put on the block, and possibly winning and putting myself in a position of power where I can make those decisions and kind of show my heart cards in that way. Had I stayed in the house and won HOH this week, I know everyone was pitching the idea that Cameron needed to leave the house, but I actually would have put Jag and Matt on the block and used that as bait to align myself with Cameron, because he'll always be a threat. He'll get out sooner or later.
So I'm gonna give you a little get back here. Who do you hope follows you out of the house next, and why?
Oh, the next person that I hope follows me out of the house is Jag. The week that he was on the block next to Red, I woke up that morning with so much steam. I'm like, Jag has got to go. He's the glue. He's going to work with Blue and Matt himself and Bowie Jane and Cameron. They're going to be a fierce five. We're worried about Red and Cam. We should be worried about a five-some instead of a two-some. All of you are so stupid. Let's get him out. Felt so strongly about Red for whatever reason. And, eventually the vote, while I thought it was going to flip to get Jag out,
Right.
flipped back to getting Red out. And I didn't really think that was a good idea, but,
Right.
I hope Jag's next.
Well, it was great talking to you. Thanks for spending time with us today. And we're looking forward to seeing you on the finale and what you have to say then. But all the best of luck in the future, Mecole.
Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate it.